To understand the current situation, we need to look at the broader context of the Korean Peninsula conflict, which has been marked by decades of tension, military provocations, and political strife. North and South Korea have been in a perpetual state of conflict since the Korean War, with intermittent periods of fragile peace. Now, with recent events, these tensions have reached new heights. Let's dive into the details. Our first article from Newsweek sets the stage. North Korea threatens to declare war with South Korea following the discovery of remnants from a South Korean military drone on its territory. North Korea has escalated its threats. They warned that any further violations would be viewed as grave provocations, potentially leading to a declaration of war. The incident began when North Korea claimed to have found a South Korean military drone that crashed on its territory. They described it as a surveillance drone made by Sungwoo Engineering. North Korea's state news agency has threatened retaliation, stating that any further aerial violations would result in military action and a declaration of war. Tensions have risen since May, with North Korea's provocative actions, including launching balloons carrying garbage into South Korea and accusing the South of flying drones over Pyongyang. In response, the South Korean Defense Ministry dismissed North Korea's claims as unfounded and refused to engage further, labeling the issue as a ploy by Pyongyang. Adding to the tension, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has reiterated the possibility of using nuclear weapons against South Korea and the US, citing increased military cooperation between the two allies. A report reveals that a majority of Americans support the use of US troops to defend South Korea if North Korea attacked, indicating strong public backing for military readiness in the region. The tension escalated further, as reported by AP News. North Korea says it discovered the remains of a South Korean drone in Pyongyang. North Korea announced the discovery of a South Korean drone in Cheap, claiming it serves as evidence of alleged South Korean drone infiltrations over the North's capital. This incident heightened tensions, with North Korea threatening military retaliation if further incursions occur. North Korea accused South Korea of flying drones over its airspace on multiple occasions, supposedly to drop anti-North Korean propaganda. They threatened to respond with force if such actions are repeated. South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff described North Korea's claims as unilateral and dismissed them as unworthy of response. Initially, South Korea issued a vague denial, which was later adjusted, indicating uncertainty about the drone incidents. This situation has escalated ongoing tensions on the Korean Peninsula, with North Korea increasing military posturing and cooperation with Russia, especially in the context of the war in Ukraine. Both sides have engaged in psychological warfare, with North Korea launching balloons carrying propaganda materials and South Korea using loudspeakers to broadcast messages into North Korea. Adding to the complexity, Reuters reported North Korea says it recovered crashed South Korean military drone. KCNA says North Korea claimed to have found the remains of a crashed South Korean military drone, suggesting it was involved in a propaganda mission. This incident has further escalated tensions, with North Korea threatening military retaliation if such incursions continue. The South Korean government has not confirmed whether drones were operating in the area and has dismissed the claims from the North as unworthy of a response. North Korea warned that further violations of its airspace would be regarded as severe provocations, potentially leading to military retaliation. The situation has become increasingly strained, with North Korea conducting hostile rhetoric and threatening consequences for any detected aerial incursions by the South. Photographs provided by North Korea showed drones resembling surveillance drones developed by the South Korean company Sungwoo Engineering, which supplied 100 drones to the South Korean military in 2023. In a significant development, BBC covered the event moment North Korea blows up roads connecting to South Korea. North Korea has blown up roads connecting it to South Korea, marking a significant shift in inter-Korean relations. North Korea's military described the action as a self-defensive measure aimed at countering what they perceive as threats from South Korea's military exercises and the presence of American nuclear assets in the region. This incident reflects a sharp increase in hostility between North and South Korea, with current tensions reportedly at their highest in years. In retaliation, the South Korean military fired weapons on its side of the border and increased surveillance of North Korean activity. The destruction occurred recently, coinciding with North Korea's declaration of cutting off connections for complete separation. North Korea's military framed the destruction as necessary to prevent potential conflict. South Korea has heightened its military readiness and surveillance since the incident. This action signifies a breakdown in previously established cooperation symbols between the two Koreas and could foreshadow further military confrontations. We'll have a look at the video displaying how the North Korea roads were destroyed. The video clearly shows North Korea blowing up the roads that connected it to South Korea, a powerful visual representation of the escalating tensions. The destruction of these roads not only symbolizes a physical barrier, but also a significant step back in diplomatic relations between the two nations. The broader geopolitical implications of these tensions are covered by South China Morning Post China in tight spot as Korean Peninsula hostilities test strategic patience. North Korea has designated South Korea as its top enemy and has engaged in provocative actions, including blowing up roads connecting to the south and threatening military responses over drone incursions. China, as North Korea's main ally, is in a difficult position. It has urged for de-escalation and political solutions, but is cautious about getting involved in the crisis. The escalation is occurring just weeks before the upcoming US presidential election, raising concerns that North Korea's provocative actions may be intended to gain attention or leverage depending on the election outcome. Both the US and China are employing a policy of strategic patience, waiting to see how North Korea pursues its agenda, which includes recognition of its nuclear status. Kim Jong-un is shifting the narrative from potential reunification to defining the relationship with South Korea as hostile, reflecting insecurities within the North Korean regime. North Korea's increasing alignment with Russia complicates China's situation. Beijing's influence appears limited as North Korea moves closer to Moscow, despite both nations typically being viewed as allies. Analysts suggest that a major conflict is unlikely in the immediate future, as Kim Jong-un is understood to be cautious and strategic in his military posturing. Nikkei Asia provides further insight. Kim Jong-un declares end of evil relationship with South Korea. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has declared an end to the country's evil relationship with South Korea. This declaration comes amidst escalating tensions, marked by increased hostile rhetoric and recent destructive actions by North Korea, including the demolition of roads and railways that connect the two nations. Kim's statement about the end of the evil relationship with South Korea reflects a significant shift in North Korea's policy. North Korea is ramping up both its rhetoric and actions against South Korea. Recently, North Korea blew up roads and railways linking it to the south, indicating a move to isolate itself further. North Korea claims that 1.4 million youths are prepared to respond to provocations, signaling potential military readiness. A South Korean politician has echoed Kim's remarks against the idea of unification, reflecting a notable political shift in the south. North Korea has announced a project to construct walls sealing off its border with South Korea, reinforcing its isolationist stance. In response to these provocations, ABC News reports South Korea fires warning shots after North Korea blows up border roads. On October 15, 2024, South Korea's military reported that North Korea detonated explosives on two cross-border roads, the Yayungwi Line and Donghae Line, as part of escalating tensions. Following these provocations, South Korea fired warning shots and heightened its military readiness in cooperation with the United States. North Korea blew up sections of the Jiangwai and Donghae lines to block road connections. In response, South Korea fired warning shots and increased military surveillance and readiness. North Korea engaged in preparations that included laying mines and dismantling infrastructure along inter-Korean routes. Tensions have escalated since December 2023, when North Korea labeled South Korea as a hostile state. North Korea informed U.S. forces in South Korea about its fortification plans to avoid miscalculations. Since May 2024, North Korea has sent trash balloons, further straining relations and prompting threats from both sides. North Korea has mobilized artillery brigades and warned of potential responses to perceived provocations from South Korea. Lastly, VOA News reports North Korea says revised constitution now defines South as hostile state. North Korea has officially redefined South Korea as a hostile state in its revised constitution, a move accompanied by the demolition of key road and rail links with the South. These actions are indicative of escalating tensions between the two Koreas, marking a significant shift in North Korea's approach toward inter-Korean relations. North Korea's recently revised constitution explicitly identifies South Korea as a hostile state for the first time. North Korea has destroyed sections of formerly operational road and rail links that connected the two countries, showcasing its intent to sever ties. The North's actions suggest a deliberate increase in animosity towards South Korea, raising concerns about potential military clashes. South Korea's unification ministry condemned the constitutional changes, labeling them anti-unification and pledging to respond firmly to provocations. The constitutional changes reflect a departure from previous administrations' goals of peaceful unification, focusing instead on asserting North Korea's sovereignty and aggression. Analysts suggest that this change legalizes the use of nuclear weapons against South Korea and reinforces Kim's regime by delegitimizing Southern cultural influence. Experts warn that while full-scale war seems unlikely due to North Korea's military disadvantages, miscalculations could lead to significant border conflicts. The change may be aimed at solidifying internal control in North Korea and establishing a narrative justifying military preparedness against the South. The current tensions on the Korean Peninsula are the result of a series of provocative actions and reactions by both North and South Korea. The discovery of drones, the destruction of roads, and the hostile rhetoric all contribute to an increasingly volatile situation. As both nations continue to prepare for potential conflicts, the involvement of international allies, such as the United States and China, adds another layer of complexity to the situation. So the future remains uncertain, but it is clear that the Korean Peninsula is once again at a critical juncture in its long and tumultuous history. If you found this analysis informative, please like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to USA Affairs for more in-depth coverage of international conflicts and geopolitical developments. Stay informed and stay safe.